Alright, what's up? It's Coach Jared. So this is a little mobility series. So this is primarily kind of a hip flexor, glute activation, but also you're going to feel a little bit of stretch either through the torso, maybe through the lats or the shoulder. So it's kind of a whole body mobility circuit, even ankles, another area. But this is a good kind of foundational movement and prep before any knee dominant, I would say any hip dominant, really any big movement pattern that you're going to do for the lower body. All right, this would also be great for like running or prepping for any type of athletic event. So first thing we're going to start with is just in that half kneel position. All right, so we want to keep, I'm going to get my foot in there, in a tight inline position. So staying about hip width apart. So if I drew a line straight out, I would follow my leg coming forward on that line. If you feel too unstable with this, then you can just simply step the foot out a little bit. It's going to change the angle and stretch just a little bit, but it's, I think, minor. All right, so first thing we want to do is when we get in our position, you can do this two ways. So this is also going to be a little added foot mobility. If you're able to, you want to pull those toes in and really get into the toes. So I have a little bit of toe extension there. If that causes pain for whatever reason, it could be an orthopedic issue, it's fine to have the toe pointed. All right. It's also having the toe in is, if you have tight quads, definitely going to put a noticeable little strain maybe across that kneecap. So if that's too much for you to tolerate, same thing, just point the toe away. In addition, it's probably good advice to put your knee down on something soft. So this is a pretty thin yoga pad. It's fine for me. But if you want something that'll give you a little bit more forgiveness, just take like a pillow or roll up a towel. All right, so I'm gonna do it with the toes in so I can get into my toes a little bit. And then what I wanna find is first this line from my knee, hip, shoulder, and ear. All right, so I'm gonna put my hand right at my side, try and give it so that I have a little bit of a tactile feedback. And I wanna then drive this hip, so my down knee, forward. And when I do that, I wanna do that just at the hip. I do not wanna do that through my lower back. All right, so first what I do not want is this, all right, or this. All right, what I do want is going to be small, but just here and squeeze. So what you might see a little bit is this movement of my rib cage coming down as I lock everything in. So you can almost think of it as bringing your hip and your ribs and squeezing them or zipping them together. All right, so just by doing that, immediately I feel that stretch. All right, so that's number one. So get into that start position. So I'm gonna switch knees to give that knee a break. All right, so I find my line. I'm looking for glute activation on the down knee, and I'm also gonna feel a little bit of my torso. All right, so first, just like we talked about with the zip it down, lock it in. All right, so I've got my stretch. I feel my activation right there. Once I have that, I'm going to add breathing to it. So for the breathing, we're going to keep a 1-to-1 tempo, and we're going to work on just a slow, force resisted exhale. So it's going to be in the nose, out the nose. So I'm going to breathe in, and as I breathe in, I'm going to fill the space down towards that hip. So I want to think about expanding primarily on that side, so my left side, and low into that hip. So if you imagine a balloon, I'm trying to blow that up. Once I breathe in, I'm gonna hold for just a second and then slowly exhale. And as I exhale, I wanna draw my belly button back to the wall and push my hip forward to the wall. All right, so it's. And you can see my hand placement. So on my abs, my torso, and on my glute. That again gives me a little bit of a tactile cue to know if I'm really getting that engagement that I want. All right, so this first step is just going forward. All right, once I have the breath, and I'm going to switch knees again. Now I'm going to add a reach. All right, so this is where we can add that stretch. All right, so I'm going to go first back into that breathing. So breathe in, breathe out, exhale, generate that locked in tension between my glute and my abs. And then I'm going to reach up as I exhale. I'm going to scan the body, and just wherever I feel the stretch is where I want to hold. So I'm going to add a little bit of a side bend and a little bit of a rotation. All right, and you just want to play in those spots. All right, so I would say do 3 to 5 breaths On the exhale is when you want to try and lengthen. On the inhale, you can reset or switch. You can alternate. So I'm going to reset. And then another breath in. All right, so that's our first direction. So what you want to think about now is a clock. So you can do this at any angle that you want, and really, again, just scan the body and feel where you feel like you need it the most. But a good way to start is just if you think 12 o'clock, then we would have like 2 o'clock and 10, and then 3, and then 9. I gotta think about this. And then you got like 7-ish or 8, and then either like 4 or 5. All right, so you're just gonna open up gradually and then keep alternating sides so you can also feel the difference between the right and the left. All right, so I'll just do a quick example. So I'll go here, lock in. And switch. All right, so now I'm gonna open up to about 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 1:30. I can sit into this one a little bit more. Still adding that reach on the exhale. And then switch. All right, now open up to 3 and 9. So I'm gonna rotate and again, really sit into it. So I wanna feel those hips opening up. So still same engagement, glute, abs. And then last 2, going to the back, about 4 to 5, and then around like 7, 8. And with this, I'll even use whichever leg's forward, use that hand, and I can even guide that knee to really open up those hips and feel that stretch. And still adding that rotation and that reach, because as I open up my hips, I might feel that stretch a little differently. And that is it.